The morning started so quietly I didn't realize my life was about to split clean in half. I was standing at my kitchen counter, buttering toast for no one but myself, when my phone buzzed with a message that made my heart slip straight into my stomach. "Melanie, don't come today. It's already settled." It was from my aunt, Patricia. I stared at the screen, confused, my thumb hovering as if the rest of the message might appear if I waited long enough. Settled? What did she mean to settle? Today was the estate hearing. Grandpa's estate. The man who raised me more than my own parents ever did. I set the phone down and read the message again. Then again. Another text came through, shorter this time. Sharper. "The property is under my name now. There's nothing for you here." My throat went dry. Nothing for me. My own grandfather had spent years telling me the opposite. He taught me how to prune roses in the backyard, how to fix leaky faucets, how to file taxes, how to stand up straight even when life pushed. That house was the only place that ever felt like mine. And now she was claiming it like I never existed. I dialed her immediately. She answered on the second ring. Her voice sounded like she'd been waiting. "What now, Melanie?" I tried to keep my voice steady. "You told me not to come to the hearing." "Why?" "It doesn't concern you anymore." "What does that mean?" A long sigh, full of impatience. "It means I failed ahead of you. The house defaults to me. You don't need to embarrass yourself by showing up and pretending he left something for you. He didn't." I gripped the edge of the counter. "Patricia, Grandpa told me, Grandpa told you lots of things," she cut in, her tone dripping with something that made my skin crawl. "He told stories. He forgot details. Don't make this harder than it needs to be." There it was. The line every greedy relative uses right before they twist the knife. Don't make this harder. I swallowed hard. "I'm still coming." "No," she snapped, "you are not." Then she hung up. For a long moment, I stood there with the phone pressed against my ear, hearing only the hollow ring of a woman who thought she'd already won. That should have been the end of it, me standing in my kitchen, helpless, cut out of the last piece of the man who raised me. But then something happened that made me grab my keys and run for the door. A notification popped up at the top of my screen. "Voicemail, from Grandpa, 1 month ago." A voicemail. From him. Left exactly 1 day before he died. My chest tightened. My hands trembled. I hit play. But before his voice reached my ears, before the first word even came through, the screen flashed with another message: "If you're watching this, the truth is about to come out." I didn't need more. I grabbed my bag, locked the door, and ran. Because whatever Grandpa left behind, it wasn't meant for her. It was meant for me. And if you're listening to this, hit subscribe before we go further, because what happened next shocked every person in that courtroom, including the aunt who swore I had nothing. By the time I reached the courthouse, my pulse was thudding so loudly I could hear it in my teeth. The building stood tall and cold, the kind of place that made you feel small before you even stepped inside. I tightened my coat around me and pushed through the heavy glass doors. The moment I entered the hallway outside courtroom 3B, I saw her. My Aunt Patricia stood with her lawyer, perfectly dressed in a navy blazer and pearls she only wore when she wanted to look respectable. She didn't see me at first. She was too busy smiling. Not the warm kind, but the smile of a person who thinks the world has finally handed them everything they wanted. Then her eyes slid up and landed on me. The smile vanished. "You weren't supposed to come," she said sharply, stepping away from her lawyer like she could physically block me from the door. I kept walking. She raised her hand, not touching me but close enough to make her intention clear. "Melanie, don't embarrass yourself. The court already knows the estate defaults to me. You showing up won't change anything." I stopped in front of her, close enough to smell her perfume. "If you're so confident, why are you shaking?" Her jaw tightened, just enough for me to notice. No one is shaking. That's funny, I said quietly, because Grandpa left me a voicemail a month before he died. He said the truth was coming. For a second, less than a blink, her eyes widened. Then she forced a cold laugh. Voicemail means nothing. Hearsay. The court won't accept it. Who said anything about voicemail? I asked softly. She froze. Because she realized something. Something she hadn't expected. I wasn't bluffing. Before she could respond, the courtroom doors opened. A clerk stepped out and said, "Estate hearing for the late Mr. Rhodes. Parties may enter." Patricia straightened her blazer and marched in like she owned the place. I followed behind her, keeping my steps slow, calm, deliberate. I took a seat on the left side of the room, she sat on the right. The judge entered. Everyone rose. Everyone sat again. Patricia's lawyer stood first. Your Honor, my client petitions for sole transfer of the Rhodes estate. She was the closest living caretaker, and we have filed all necessary paperwork. I stared at the back of my aunt's head, wondering how many times she'd rehearsed those words. The judge adjusted his glasses. And the granddaughter? Ms. Melanie Rhodes? Her lawyer answered before I could open my mouth. She is not listed as a beneficiary in the current folder. Then Patricia turned and looked at me. Smug. Cold. Victorious. Melanie, she said loudly enough for the judge to hear, I told you not to come. I didn't want you to get hurt. I leaned forward. You should have tried harder. Her smile faltered. The judge cleared his throat. Ms. Rhodes, do you have representation? I stood. Not yet, Your Honor. But I have evidence. Patricia let out a sharp breath, almost a laugh. Evidence? About what? That your grandpa liked you? I met her eyes and said calmly, about what he wanted. The judge motioned. You may present what you have. My heart kicked into another gear. This was it. The moment everything hinged on. But I didn't pull out my phone. I didn't reach for Grandpa's voicemail. Instead, I opened my bag and removed a small brown envelope with Grandpa's shaky handwriting across the front. The courtroom became so quiet I could hear someone breathing 3 rows behind me. I placed the envelope on the table in front of the judge. My grandfather mailed this to me the week he died, I said, each word steady. It wasn't a message. It wasn't a memory. It was something he wanted the court to hear. Patricia's lawyer frowned. Your Honor, this is irregular, it's stamped and dated by the Postal Service, the judge said, examining the envelope. It appears authentic. Then he slid out the small USB recorder inside. Patricia blanched. Her lawyer reached for her arm, whispering something urgently. Because they knew. They knew exactly what Grandpa's voice could do. The judge inserted the USB into the courtroom monitor. A soft click. A short static noise. Then my grandfather's voice filled the room. Raw. Rough. Tired. But unmistakably clear. If you're hearing this, it means I didn't get to finish the papers the way I planned. It means someone is trying to claim what was never meant for them. Patricia's breath hitched. You must listen carefully, his voice continued. This estate, my home, my land, everything I built, belongs to Melanie. My stomach dropped. My aunt's shoulders collapsed. The entire room froze. Grandpa's voice went on, steady despite the frailty in his breathing. If anyone says otherwise, they're lying. And if Patricia is involved, she knows exactly why I'm recording this. Patricia buried her face in her hands. The judge looked stunned. Grandpa finished with one final sentence. No matter what happens, I want the truth on record. The recording clicked off. Silence. Then, Patricia whispered, this is manipulated. It has to be. But her voice was thin. Desperate. Breaking. The judge leaned forward. We will authenticate the recording. Until then, the petition is paused. Patricia's lawyer sank into his seat. And for the first time in my life, I saw fear in my aunt's eyes. When the hearing recessed, the judge ordered both sides to return in 2 hours. 2 hours to review the upcoming authentication process, he said. But everyone in that courtroom already knew what those words really meant. He needed time to prepare for the storm that recording just unleashed. I stepped into the hallway, the air cold enough to sting. People brushed past me, lawyers with clipboards, clerks shuffling papers, strangers who had no idea that my entire life had just split open on a courtroom speaker. I barely made it 2 steps before someone grabbed my arm. Patricia. Her fingers were tight and cold, like she was holding onto a rope that was already slipping through her grasp. You. Her voice cracked with a quiet fury. You had no right to play that. I pulled my arm free. I had every right. It was Grandpa's voice. That recording, she hissed, doesn't change anything. I looked at her and said, then why are you shaking again? She stepped back like I'd hit her. For a moment she didn't speak, just stood there with her arms locked across her chest, her eyes darting to the closed courtroom doors as if someone might be listening. Then her expression sharpened into something even uglier. Do you know what you've done? You have no idea what you just walked into. That house is not what you think it is, Melanie. Something in her tone made my stomach twist. What do you mean by that? But before she could answer, her lawyer rushed toward her. Patricia. Office. Now. He pulled her aside and walked her down the hallway so fast she nearly stumbled. I stood there, heart pounding, staring at the swing of her blazer disappearing. Around the corner. Not what I think it is. The sentence kept replaying in my head, circling like a warning. I stepped outside into the cold air to clear my mind, sitting on a bench near the courthouse steps. The world moved normally around me, cars honking, footsteps, chatter, but inside, everything was still caught in that recording. His voice. His words. The truth he didn't want buried. After a few minutes, I pulled out my phone and opened the voicemail Grandpa left me, the one I hadn't even listened to yet because everything spiraled so fast. I hit play. At first, it was quiet. I heard him cough gently, like he was moving the phone closer. Mel, sweetheart, if I don't see you again, I want you to know something. My heart squeezed tight. You think Patricia visited me because she cared. But she didn't. She came with papers. Papers someone else drafted for her. She wanted me to sign everything over, but I didn't. The blood drained from my face. She wasn't alone. She had someone with her. Someone telling her how to word things. I don't want her near that house. I don't want her handling anything. A long pause. You're the only one who remembers how much work went into that land. You're the only one who stayed. Then he whispered one last line, tired and almost broken. She isn't who you think she is, Melanie. Don't let her take what she never earned. My hand tightened around the phone until my fingers hurt. Someone with her. Someone drafting papers. Someone tried to get Grandpa to sign before he recorded his message. My mind raced through every memory, every suspicious moment from the past year. There were signs. I just never saw them. I stood quickly and went back inside, ignoring the cold. When I reached the hallway again, Patricia's lawyer was gone. But Patricia remained, her shoulders slumped against the wall, her phone pressed to her ear. She didn't see me at first, but when she looked up, her expression changed. Not anger. Not arrogance. Fear. Real fear. Before she could tuck it away, I walked straight toward her. You said the house isn't what I think it is. What did you mean? Her jaw clenched. You heard the voicemail. That's not an answer. She looked away, fingers trembling around her phone. There are things you don't understand. Things Grandpa never told you. Then tell me. She closed her eyes and whispered, I can't. Can't or won't. Her voice dropped so low I could barely hear her. If you knew, you wouldn't want it either. A chill slid down my spine. What did you do? I asked quietly. She didn't respond. Didn't deny. Didn't defend. Instead, she said 4 words that landed like a stone, it wasn't just me. Before I could speak, her lawyer returned and pulled her away again. And this time, she didn't look back. My breath trembled as I stepped away. Something was wrong, deeply wrong. And whatever was coming next, I could feel it tightening around us like a tightening noose. But I wasn't where the story ended. 2 hours later, we were called back into the courtroom. Everyone sat. Everyone waited. The judge entered with a different energy now, tense, alert, ready for impact. He cleared his throat. The audio file has been preliminarily authenticated. The timestamp matches the postal date. The voice match is consistent. And the recording appears unaltered. Gasps rippled through the room. Patricia went pale. The judge continued. Before we make any decisions, I will play the second recording. Second recording? My heart dropped. What second recording? Then the bailiff placed a small device on the judge's desk. A recorder. Grandpa's voice filled the room again. But this time, he wasn't alone. There was another voice in the background. A voice I recognized. Patricia. Saying, if you don't sign this now, the county will take the house. And then Melanie gets nothing. Do you want that? Do you want her to lose everything? My chest tightened. Then her accomplice spoke. A man. Calm. Professional. Cold. Yes, Mr. Rhodes. Just sign. We'll take care of the rest. Grandpa's voice struggled. This doesn't feel right. Patricia snapped, it's too late to change your mind. Then a sound, papers rustling, Grandpa coughing, Patricia muttering under her breath. And then, I'm not signing anything. The recording clicked off. The judge stared at Patricia with an expression I had never seen on a judge before. Disgust. Her lawyer dropped his pen. Her face drained of every ounce of color. I sat frozen, my hands gripping the edge of the bench. Because Grandpa didn't leave one last message. He left a trail. He left proof of who she really was. And the entire courtroom had just heard it. The courtroom didn't breathe. Not for a full 5 seconds. The second recording hung in the air like smoke, thick and choking, and every person in that room was staring at my aunt as if seeing her for the first time. Patricia didn't blink. Didn't speak. Didn't even reach for her lawyer. She just folded. Her shoulders sank inward, her hands shook violently, and when she opened her mouth, nothing came out. Her lawyer leaned toward her, whispering something urgent, but she didn't seem to hear him. The judge finally broke the silence. Ms. Rhodes, he said, voice stern but almost pitying, you will remain seated. The court is ordering an immediate suspension of your petition and an investigative hold on all assets connected to Mr. Rhodes' estate. People gasped. Patricia's lawyer jerked upright. Your Honor, we object. Sit down, counselor, the judge snapped. My pulse hammered in my ears. Suspension. Investigative hold. Everything she fought for just turned to dust. The judge turned to me. Miss Rhodes. You may approach. My legs moved before my mind did. I stepped forward, the wooden floorboards creaking beneath my shoes, and for a moment, I felt like the room blurred around me. Like Grandpa was walking beside me, leading me through something he knew I'd have to face alone. When I reached the bench, the judge nodded. The court recognizes your standing as the primary beneficiary indicated in Mr. Rhodes' original documentation. Given the evidence played today, including coercion attempts and fraudulent behavior, you are entitled to immediate protective possession of the estate pending final ruling. A quiet gasp left my throat. Protective possession. This wasn't just a step forward. This was reclaiming everything they tried to bury. The judge continued, the court will now schedule a fraud hearing and forensic signature review. All associated parties are prohibited from accessing the property or financial accounts. My aunt jerked to her feet. This isn't fair. The bailiff stepped toward her immediately. Sit down, the judge ordered firmly. This court has been more than patient with you. Her knees buckled and she dropped into the chair like gravity crushed her. Then the judge dismissed us. Just like that. Everything was over. At least, this part. I walked out of the courtroom in a daze, the sounds of voices bouncing around me without meaning. Reporters had begun gathering outside, but the bailiff held them back as I stepped past the doors. Cold air hit my face like a jolt. And then someone called my name. Aunt Laura. She hurried toward me, eyes wet. I didn't know, she whispered. I knew Patricia was controlling, but I never imagined she'd do something like that. I know, I said softly. This wasn't on you. She hugged me, tight, trembling, and for the first time in months, I felt something familiar. Something safe. Something that reminded me of what family was supposed to feel like. But the moment didn't last. Because across the courtyard, I saw Patricia being escorted out by her lawyer and two bailiffs. Her hands weren't cuffed, but the posture, the fear, the humiliation, she looked like someone being walked out of their own downfall. She saw me. For a split second, her expression flickered. Rage. Fear. Regret. And something else I hadn't seen from her since childhood. Shame. She mouthed something. I couldn't tell what. Then the bailiffs guided her to a waiting car, and she disappeared. I walked toward the courthouse steps, feeling the wind cut across my skin. Everything was different now, my relationship with her, the truth about Grandpa's estate, the lies that shaped this entire fight. But one thing wasn't different. I wasn't alone anymore. Grandpa made sure of that. His voice still echoed in my head, steady and certain, you're the only one who stayed. My phone buzzed. Attorney Holloway. I answered immediately. Miss Rhodes, he said, the clerk processed the protective order. The property is officially under your care. No one else may enter. I closed my eyes, relief flooding through me. Thank you. One more thing, he said. Your grandfather left a sealed envelope with a note requesting it be given to you once the estate was secured. He wanted you to have it first. My breath caught. A letter. From him. Waiting for me all this time. When can I pick it up? I asked, barely able to speak. I'm in my office, he said. Come now. It's time. Time. I walked toward my car with slow, steady steps, the sun dipping behind the courthouse, casting long shadows across the pavement. Halfway there, I paused. Because no matter what was inside that envelope, whether it was instructions, apology, encouragement, or another secret, I knew one thing. This story wasn't ending. It was turning. And as I slid into my car and started the engine, I whispered the kind of closing line my competitor always leaves lingering in the air, the kind that pulls viewers straight into the next story. They tried to bury Grandpa's truth. But now that the evidence is mine, the next move, and the final strike, belong to me. If you want more stories like this, subscribe right now. I'll see you in the next one.